Heads of State, starring Idris Elba and John Cena, is a perfect straight to streaming movie. It's very reminiscent of the 90s action movies where it's just kind of turn your brain off for a couple hours and let a couple funny and charismatic actors just do their thing. It's got all the tropes of like every spy movie. The action scenes are crazy over the top and also played for comedic effect at different points where they're just winning fights through coincidence after coincidence very deliberately. And it's a pretty fun movie overall. If you need something on the background while you're eating dinner or reading a book, or if you're into doing something on one computer screen and having a movie on your second screen, this movie is perfect for that. I think it was the right decision to not put it in theaters because it doesn't do anything special, but it's just a perfectly amusing way to knock out a couple hours in one of your nights. It's got a pretty good cast. I already mentioned John Cena and Idris Elba. It's got Patty Considine as a Russian villain, Carla Gugino, who you might recognize from like Haunting on Hill House, as the VP, a little Jack Quaid bit in the middle of the movie, and other actors and actresses that are pretty recognizable even if you don't know their names. I'll talk about the meta components later because I'm sure it'll annoy some people anyway. The gist of the plot is that there's a joint CIA MI6 mission in Spain. They're trying to go after Victor Gradov, who's Patty Considine. He's a Russian terrorist, and they realize that they've been set up. Noelle Bissette, played by Priyanka Chopra, was leading the mission. Her body disappears. Obviously, you know she's not dead because we don't see the corpse on screen. And shortly after, the Prime Minister of England, Sam Clark or Idris Elba, is meeting with the President of the United States, Will Derringer, John Cena. Sam Clark is a very serious, by the book, worked his way up through the military to get to his position. Will Derringer was an action movie star who made his way into the White House. But they have their flight together. It's kind of a PR thing. Their security's been infiltrated. They survive a crazy plane crash. The world thinks they're dead. Right before a big NATO summit, Victor Gradov at this time has gotten a hold of the Echelon, which is this super duper AI thing that's very important to NATO. They end up in Belarus, so hostile territory. They're making their way to Warsaw, just the two of them. Sam Clark is experienced and serious. Will Derringer is just kind of a bloviating jackass because he's an actor. They get into some skirmishes with the locals. They get to a safe house that gets attacked by Gradov's men with the help of Marty Comer, played by Jack Quaid. They escape after a crazy firefight and explosions and the whole deal. They run into Noelle Bissette, who we gradually find out used to be kind of a thing with Sam Clark. So you know that they're going to be alluded to being together by the end of the movie, because everything in this movie is just sort of your standard trope. As they continue on, they end up finding out misleading information about who betrayed them. Obviously, the twist is that it was someone else. In this case, it's the vice president. Gradov and his assassins leak a bunch of NATO information about how much spying was going on between nations and all the shit going on. So NATO is set up to dissolve, which was kind of his whole goal to begin with. Sam and Will show up to the NATO summit just at the last minute. Gradov's assassins show up and shoot a bunch of people. There's a crazy, ridiculous firefight. The VP gets killed by Gradov because she was the traitor. Will and Sam end up killing Gradov at the end. Day saved. They're kind of buddies now. They both learned that they should take on some of the traits from the other one, even though they didn't like each other to begin with. Huzzah. Nothing special. They do the thing where you think someone's dead and they're not multiple times. There's the fake betrayer, actual betrayer, getting saved at the last minute, out jumping explosions, all the standard shit you see in these kind of spy action thriller movies. The humor for me was kind of all over the place. They have some decent jokes in there. A lot of it's just kind of your generic stereotyping Britain or America, and they kind of take pot shots at each other. Really, the performances of Sam and Will carry the movie. I like Idris Elba and John Cena as actors, so I find them both at least amusing. I like Patty Considine whenever I see him. He doesn't get much to do, but he's fine for the role. As far as the meta stuff goes, it seems pretty obvious to me that whoever made the movie really doesn't like Donald Trump. Shocking, I know. John Cena's character is kind of this just over arrogant, always upbeat, saying off the wall shit that he can't do, really overbearing, kind kind of bullshitting all the time. I mean, they made him an action movie star instead of a reality TV star. He's pretty much non-functional for like 2/3 of the movie. Sam is just dragging his ass along. And then they give the VP this very anti-NATO perspective. And the whole message of the movie is how important NATO is and how much we need each other. If you pay attention to politics at all, this has obviously been an ongoing thing about our relationship with NATO and the responsibilities of the members and blah, blah, blah. I'm not getting into that shit here. But they kind of just divided up the shit that they didn't like about Trump between John Cena and his VP. So John Cena negatively behaves in a Trumpian fashion, and she has Trump's negative views in the eyes of the movie. This is not my favorite thing to talk about, but it seemed pretty transparent to me that was the point of the movie and the decisions that were made. They could have very easily had Will Derringer's background be either one, that he lied as a politician about his history to get to where he is, or maybe he was a normal politician but just kind of an overbearing jackass, emblematic of American exceptionalism and our general attitude toward the rest of the world. But to me, to make a point to have him behave the way that he does, say some of the things that he says, give him the TV star background, it seemed really deliberate to me. And the whole NATO thing at the end was so specific, it's really hard to assume that it was unintentional. And maybe in a vacuum where Hollywood wasn't constantly doing this shit, I wouldn't assume bad intent, but here we are. It didn't bother me enough to make me hate the movie. I just kind of rolled my eyes. But for people who get really bothered by it, I figured I'd at least give you a warning. Overall, perfectly fine movie just to throw on, not pay too much attention to. It was absolutely, I would never have recommended seeing this in theater. I don't even know if I'll put it on the background again, frankly. It was fine for once. I'm not going to keep rambling about it. That's kind of it. Super simple premise, movie, execution, forgettable. Straight to streaming, straight to DVD equivalent for the modern day, I guess. I'm going to leave it there for this one. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think. Try to respond to comments or insults, like and subscribe and all that shit. Thanks. See ya.